I do educational content and my engagement has gone off a cliff. What do I do? If you're tired of the old cookie cutter marketing advice and want to take your personal brand to the next level with bold, actionable strategies that truly reflect you, you're in the right place. Let's untangle your marketing mayhem with Zoe, the video confidence coach, on the Unboring Your Brand podcast. Unboring Your Brand was recorded on Wadawurrung land. Yes, that is happening all throughout the internet at the moment. If you are someone who educates in your content when you're building a personal brand, and to be honest, and an extent, some of your content is going to be educational in some respect. You are here to both educate and entertain your audience into getting that sale, into building a community, into whatever your goal is with your audience. There's going to be some aspect of education. And for some people, that is like 90% of the work that they do online is educating their audience, educating future audiences, educating potential audiences about what they do, why they care, and why you should care. And for a lot of people, it's not just the awareness of, hey, this is a problem for me. It's where do I even start to, what language do I even use to find the answer to this problem? Like there's a lot of questions that people have. And when you are not just creating content or generating a marketing plan, you are trying to answer these people's questions in both an entertaining, but also an educational way. And at the moment, there has been a very big wink away from educational content getting the views and engagements that it used to in the past. But before I continue with today's episode, I want to first thank Kenji for reaching out, who had the specific question. Now, we had a full conversation in the emails, but essentially the question that I want to bring in today's episode energy is my content is mostly how-to tutorials. How do I shift from how to do it, so how to do the thing that you're, providing either tools or you're providing knowledge or you're providing a service, you're providing a program, whatever you're doing. How do I shift from how to do it content without sounding braggy or losing educational value to a, method that actually makes a lot more sense? And what works now is personal experience. Let me clarify that. It's not that it works now, it's always worked. But with the rise of AI, the rise of just generic information being put out there, whether it is true or not, mind you, if people want to find out how to do something, there's a robot for that. There's an app for that. If they want to learn how to do something, there's already stuff out there on the internet. What people care about is people's personal experiences. How do I do this? And when they are watching you, they want to know your trials, your tribulations, your thoughts, and they want to know from your personal opinion. Because AI chatbots and MMLs, so that's what they are. So these AI, again, it's not really AI, but the AI is that we use as, again, public facing. It's usually in a chatbot, so you can have a conversation with it. These are amalgamations of, hundreds and thousands and millions of pieces of data. And it doesn't have any heart, doesn't have any opinions, because they're trying to answer your query while also making sure that they get the ad revenue. I digress. And if a lot of your content that you put out there to educate your potential audience, to educate them on what to buy, where to buy, hopefully buy from you, or just helping them feel less alone, is now moving away from, okay, here is how you do A, B, C, D. It is now, okay, this is how I do A, B, C, D. Here are my experiences, here are my thoughts. Just a warning, speak to them like a human being. And when it comes to step tutorials, it is replaceable. That type of method and content and that is replaceable. And now that people can ask it through AI. So, and I've got a little quote here from myself, is we're now moving from how-to content to how I do content. Now, I apologize if you are watching the video version of this episode today and it is sweaty. It is summer as I record this in Australia, and you can feel it. But if you want to see my sweaty face, feel free to join this episode on YouTube and the Unboring Your Brand podcast on vcc.training/podcast. So when it comes to educational content, I don't want you to feel like you need to throw out the baby with the bathwater. I don't want you to feel helpless. And because educational content still matters. People still want to learn things. People still want to be able to solve their problems. So to solve their problems, they need to know A, that the problem exists, B, how to solve it, and C, how to do it, hopefully easily. And if that involves getting someone else to do it, awesome. You can be that someone. But it is not the only way to build trust anymore. And if your content is mostly how-to tutorials, you can accidentally train people and give them the info and then they leave. Or what is currently happening right now is you train an AI and then that leaves you. Well, not that leaves you. It never joined you in the first place. What I'm saying is that type of tutorial content can help you be left in the lurch. And that is not something we want to do when growing our personal brands. We want to be that leader. And I want to stress now that I had a couple quick side tangents, Zoe, is a personal brand is ultimately being a leader of your message, of your focus, or wherever you're putting your energy, be it a community of people, be it a specific problem that people are having, or if it is to, just get a lot of money. I do not recommend personal brand building to make you a shit ton of money. It works for some people, but not a whole lot, to be perfectly honest. You are there to solve a problem. You are there to help and serve people, specifically your people. And the shift that is currently happening is that people are caring more about who their leaders are and why their leaders care. Are their leaders... Now, this could be in any sort of situation. This doesn't have to be a political thing. This doesn't have to be you're given it because you're the director or CEO of a company type thing. None of that. And if you are a leader already of a community, or because you started it or you founded it, or you're a CEO or in a C-suite of a company, I don't want you to disregard what I'm saying here. But when it comes to educating the people that need your help, they need you to have opinions. They don't want you to be just a regurgitating human version of an AI that they've already got 10, 15 in their pocket. They want you to be human. They want you to have opinions. And even if your opinions do not resonate with them and their core values, that depends whether or not they want to follow you or not. But when it comes to this educational content, the shift that is happening for video content that leads with personality, with opinion, with lived experience. AIs do not have lived experience. And not just basic instructions. And when it comes with this type of educational content, I'm going to tell you now, if you have done any sort of educational content, you're going to have your personality in there. You're going to have your opinions. You're going to have your lived experience in there. You're going to have your personality. It's going to be there. But you need to bring that out more strongly to be able to not just retain your audience, but to grow your audience, to help the people you need to help, because it's now about giving some context as to why people should bother trying to achieve what you're trying to teach them to do. And this specific change that is moving from how to how I do is not just about chasing trends. It's about making your marketing, your message, and the work that you put out there harder to copy by AIs, but also just by other people. And having it easier to connect with by the people that actually are going to follow you, are going to listen to what you have to say, are going to enact what you are educating them about. And hopefully, well, I shouldn't say hopefully, we are business-minded people here, Zoe, actually give you money and consistently give you money. Because that's what we want to do, is we want to build superfans, people who you are helping again and again and again with maybe different areas or different specific niches of what you do. It's not that you aren't efficient and you're not helping them achieve what they need to achieve in the first place, They are wanting to grow and do bigger and better things. And you are going to guide them along the way. You are going to help them along the way. No matter what your personal brand is about, your personal brand is about your audience. Your personal brand is about helping them solve their problem. Welcome to business, baby. So in those moments, lead. Lead with personality. Lead with your life experiences. Lead with your opinion. Because the internet is full of step-by-steps. And the AI tools that have crawled that, be it legally or illegally, can summarize dozens of articles in seconds. So when it comes to generic instruction, people are getting just overwhelmed. And even if your tutorial or your how-to or your guide is absolutely thorough and excellent, that's going to get ripped off in a second. So pivoting this how-to to how I do, how my experience is involved, not just in video content, but in your marketing plan as a whole, is because it includes context, which again, AI does not have. It includes the context that your audience would care about by providing your values, again, what you care about and what hopefully your audience cares about, because that's that shared value of building their personal brand with their audience who actually shares your values, I should say. They understand the constraints of why you're doing what you're doing, why you're making some certain shortcuts to achieve what you want to achieve, and ultimately your choices in how you're doing what you're doing and the trade-offs. I'm aware I'm speaking very generically here because when it comes to the people that I'm speaking to, building a personal brand is a very, this may sound cheesy, personal thing. And the people that you are speaking to are diverse. There are subtle changes within the types of people that you're trying to work with, or the people that you are currently working with. And when you are growing that personal brand through video marketing, which again, hello, video confidence coach, this is what we do here. You're using your message to help people solve their problem. And that can in turn include content, and that the content that gets the most clicks and the most action and retention is video, depending on what platform. And from there, having educational content that is quick, engaging, opinionated makes your content more accessible. It helps you offer opinions and alternatives and not just a rigid how to do this. 1, 2, 3. You're in a science lab back in high school. And when using this type of language, it can feel quite awkward. If you are someone who I'm currently speaking with at the moment is very A-brained, let's say that. They are very, they're a clear 1, 2, 3, 4. Any deviation is not in the rules. 1, 2, 3. There's really clear steps. And when building a personal brand, you need to speak from yourself. You need to speak from your core being, which involves using I language, which is going to be fun for some people. And you are still in service to the listener. You are still in service to the watcher, to the viewer, to the potential audience, or the people who are already currently working with you. You are being a guide. You are not monologuing at them. You are being a guide. And changing this position from, this is how you do it to this is how I do it can seem a little bit egotistical and can come off as me, which, fair. And if you are unpracticed and unskilled, that is how it's going to come off as. And unfortunately, that is going to happen, especially when you're pivoting content or when you're pivoting message or when you're pivoting styles. That is going to happen. You are going to come across that as soon as you try anything new. As soon as you are moving the goalposts, as it were, you are going to run into that. But that's okay. You're practicing. You're trying something new. You're leading with, this is how I did it. Or this is how I'm doing it right now. This is what works right now. This is how I'm doing it right now because this works for me right now. That is what you're leading with. You're teaching the steps, but reminding the listener that this is the one part, this is not the only path, that this is one path that you are taking. This is how it's working for you. Here are your constraints. Here is your values. Here are your, again, the context. because those generic AIs do not provide context. And arguably, they don't even provide the right answer. So I would like to ask you to have a conversation with your community, with the audience that you've built, no matter how big or small it is, no matter what platform it's on. Because again, it's not about the format. Feel free to check out my other podcast episodes about why the format doesn't matter, and leading with that type of thinking can be detrimental to building your personal brand. It's about building your community and asking for alternatives, getting not just the engagement, mind you, but how people are feeling in that moment. What are people's lived experiences regarding this issue? Because again, I'm speaking very broadly because this can apply to any piece of educational content or any piece of educational messaging that you're pushing out there with your personal brand. And now that you've seen this now, you'll be able to see this in your own doom scrolling hour-long sessions. You can also see this out in the world too. We are moving away from those classic how-tos to that. And ultimately, that stuff was always there, but now it's going to become more and more prevalent as that MML wave continues to hit. We'll see how well that goes for everyone. I just also want you to remember that when you're educating people, you need to show the proof. People will remember how you made them feel, not the checklist that you gave them. People are going to remember that feeling of, hey, I can do this too. Hey, I saw this guy on, or a regular conversation that I have in my family is, I saw this on TikTok, saw this girl on TikTok, saw this guy on TikTok. I saw this person make this on TikTok. I can do it too. And when you become the brand that they trust, the personal brand that they trust, it's not just a like and then a scroll past. They're going to keep coming back to you. Their algorithm is going to keep showing you in front of them, and hopefully getting them on some sort of email list or some sort of place where you can have better connection with them is going to be ultimately a good idea moving forward for you and your personal brand. Ultimately, keep your educational content. I don't want you to feel like this is a call out to turf everything that you've been working on, especially if it's 90% of your content. But I want you to stop making it feel interchangeable with anyone else out there who is in your particular field. I want you to try, at least, to shift from how to do to how I do, and using that perspective and personality-led part of your personal brand. Because again, everyone has a personal brand. It's whether you use it or not. Make sure that whatever you do, you add context. There is a why of why you're doing it that way. Why are you doing it now? What have you tried first and what didn't work? And what changed? Always do your best to give alternatives. Now, don't go overboard. Do your best to provide alternatives for people to adapt to their life, to their tools, to their budget, to their circumstance, to their values. You don't need to go full, bean salad. You don't need to provide alternatives for absolutely everything, but within constraint. Because the people that you're speaking to are a diverse group who all have unique instances they're coming to you with. So doing your best to apply that and approach that is going to be helpful for not just for you, but for anyone who wants to pay for you for your services. And you are allowed to use me, without sounding egotistical like an influencer, with the goal of helping your audience take action. And that's what you're here for, to help them solve their problem, be it by having them do it themselves, or maybe even do some of the work up front. So when they come to you saying, hey, I am ready to buy your product, buy your service, I'm ready to attend your event, whatever you're asking people to do, ultimately, in like your goals of building a personal brand, when they want to come to you saying, hey, I have done the work, I am ready because I have listened to you, you've made things easier for yourself as well as them. Speaking of one simple action, what I would love you to do is Pick one piece of educational content that you had planned to do over this next week or maybe this next 2 weeks, and spend just 20 seconds rewriting that, maybe that intro to give you that, cadence going, give you that boost to move to here is how I do it. Obviously, providing those constraints and those context and that alternative option. Again, feel free to just provide one. And this could go for a simple 20-second video to all the way to a much longer form podcast or video that you had planned. So here's an example that I quickly put together is, all right, so this is how I plan a video in less than 10 minutes because I hate long scripts and I don't believe in them. If you want something more detailed, you can add bullet prompts instead. Like, have it be conversational. Your personal brand is a reflection of you. Have it be conversational because you have conversations. I would love for you, if you are someone who is stuck on the ledge when it comes to your personal brand or when it comes to marketing yourself and you're feeling like I'm trying everything, Zoe, and just nothing is sticking to the wall, I recommend booking in a golden hour reset. It is to turn your content into a simple plan that you can follow this week. Again, I understand where you're coming from. I can sympathize with this need to do everything and be everywhere with what you do. I understand. And that golden hour reset is going to give you 60 minutes and you're going to walk out with a plan that you can do that day. Well, less that day. You can do it within that hour, to be perfectly honest. So the next step is to check out the disco call down in the description below because I want to make sure that I am the right fit for you. And if not, I'll push you in the right direction. For those who are still watching and listening, I want to thank you so much for enjoying the Unboring Your Brand podcast. 2 episodes, which are going to be highly related to this episode that I want you to key up next in your podcast player, is episode 72, Pivot Proof Personal Branding. Your girl likes an alliteration, what can I say? So this episode specifically is about brand building that holds up through changes. So your content is not trend chasing. Because that's one thing that I want to recommend when making these type of pivots to your brand. You're not just doing it every single second of every week. And the other episode that I want you to key up in your podcast player or on your playlist on YouTube is episode 86, Stop Sounding Like a LinkedIn Zombie. Whew, people had opinions about that one. But this episode specifically is about, shifting from generic professional speak to a personally led communication, because that's what we need. We are not robots. We are human beings, and we're going to sound like them. So I'm going to ask you now that if this episode has helped you in any way, please hit the subscribe button, follow so you don't miss the next episode, which is released every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, but Tuesday night for everywhere else in the world. And if you are feeling oh so generous, please can you give me 5 stars or a quick review in Apple or Spotify podcasts, because it will help more than you think. I want to thank you for joining, and I will see you next week on the Unboring Your Brand podcast. Thank you for listening or watching Unboring Your Brand. You can find detailed show notes with tools, offers, and episode transcriptions. Just click the first link in the description or go to vcc.training/podcast. Get involved and ask me anything about personal branding, video strategy, or just a friendly small business chat via my email, g'day@vcc.training. That is gday@vcc.training. The Video Confidence Coach would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which I record my podcast. I pay my respects to their elders past and present. I stand with the traditional custodians of these lands in working towards a more equal future. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Look forward to me chatting at you next week, superstars.